Magic the Gathering is a game that features a vast and continuous multiverse of stories set across countless planes that incorporates numerous themes. One of those themes is horror. With the beginning of October, so begins our countdown to Halloween. 30 days, 30 decks, 30 different creatures of the night, all culminating with a special 31st episode on Halloween Day itself. For those of you with a profound fascination of the macabre, I invite you to join me on this venture through 30 days of night. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm MTG Budget Brew, and welcome to day number 9 of our 30 days of night. Today we're playing with one of Magic's own horrific creations, the Eldrazi. For today's deck list, we are running a Gruul Eldrazi deck that is somewhere in between mid-range and aggro. I said that I would try to avoid putting black into decks whenever I could, and rather than make a boring Reanimator Eldrazi deck, I decided to build a deck around this card, which is our 4 rares for today's deck, Eldrazi Linebreaker. It is 1 a colorless and a red for a 3/3 Eldrazi with Devoid and Trample that says, at the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gains haste and gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the number of Eldrazi you control, and Devoid just means this card has no color. So our game plan for this deck is a combination of going wide with Eldrazi spawn tokens, and also dropping some big beaters with Trample, who can then be given haste thanks to the Eldrazi Linebreaker, as well as a big buff to their power. The other Eldrazi that we are running in this deck include Basking Broodscale, Propagator Drone, It That Heralds the End, Eldrazi Repurposer, Wumpus Aberration, Writhing Chrysalis, and Titans Vanguard. Our non-creature cards for the deck include 2 copies of Horrific Assault and 4 Malevolent Rumble. Malevolent Rumble is 1 and a green for a sorcery that says, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put a permanent card from among them into your hand, put the rest into your graveyard, create a 0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn creature token. With sacrifice this token, add a colorless mana. This card is really nice in the deck because it allows us to look at the top 4 and help us find our way to our Eldrazi Linebreaker, which is the main centerpiece of this deck. Our mana base is a little bit weird. We are running 4 Twisted Landscape, 4 Ancient Ziggurat, 4 Secluded Courtyards, and 4 Unclaimed Territories, as well as 8 forests. You'll notice that we are not running any mountains in the deck, which is a little bit weird considering that we are a Gruul deck. It's also a little bit weird that we're running Twisted Landscape because this can sack itself to search for a swamp, mountain, or a forest, and we are not running 2 of those basic land types. But the reason that I'm running such a weird looking mana base is mostly because of the card Wumpus Aberration. It's 3 and a green for a 6/6 Eldrazi beast that says, when you cast this spell, if colorless mana wasn't spent to cast it, target opponent may put a creature card from their hand onto the battlefield. Obviously, that would be really bad. So to help guarantee that we have access to colorless mana specifically, I am choosing to run the Twisted Landscapes. Secluded Courtyard and Unclaimed Territory do also give us access to colorless, but Ancient Ziggurat cannot tap for colorless, nor can our forests. Yeah, very weird. You need this middle column for all of our creatures. You need the forest, only for these 6 cards. And then Twisted Landscape works to either tutor a forest for our non-creature spells, or it can allow us to have access to colorless mana for the Wumpus Aberration. Weird mana base. If we hop over to my untapped account, we can see that I am currently 3-2 with the deck. That is 5 whole games that I've played, and across those 5 games, I have 4 different versions of the deck. You'll see that my most recent change was actually removing mountains from the deck because I realized they're unnecessary, and swapping it for 3 more forests. But still, we're 3-2, and this most recent version of the deck, it felt very good, very consistent, and I'm very excited to show it to you guys. So let's go hop into some matches. All right, here we are in game number 1. Our opening hand looks pretty decent. I think we're just going to start with a Basking Broodscale, which is 1 and a green for a 2/2 Eldrazi Lizard with Devoid that has Adapt 1 for 1 and a green. It says, whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are put on this creature, you may create a 0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn creature token. And Adapt says, if this creature has no +1/+1 counters on it, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Opponent's going to play out Cruel Celebrant. 2 mana, 1/2. Whenever this creature or another creature or planeswalker you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. It looks like they are an Aristocrats deck. I think I'm just going to play out an Eldrazi Repurposer right now. When we cast this, we get a spawn token. And then I can still swing the Broodscale. Our opponent's going to take the 2 because I'm definitely not going to trade with their Celebrant. Or they're not going to lose their Celebrant just to block. So they take 2, they go down to 16. Our opponent plays a Vengeful Blood Witch. 2 mana 1/1 Vampire Warlock with whenever this creature or another creature you control dies, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Okay, no big deal. All right, we have a few options here. I could go ahead and adapt our Broodscale. We could even play our 5-drop by sacrificing our spawn token. I think I'm just going to try and... I think I'm definitely playing one, It That Heralds the End, which says colorless spells you cast with mana value 7 or greater cost 1 less cast. That part is irrelevant for our deck. We don't have any 7 drops or higher. More importantly, it says other colorless creatures you control get +1/+1. So it just buffs our board. And you know what? I think I am going to activate Broodscale's adapt ability. We'll get another token, and then we'll swing with 2 4/4s. And then next turn, we will either drop the Titans Vanguard, which will buff our entire board, because this card says when you cast a spell and whenever this creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on each colorless creature you control, and it has trample. I'll either play that, or maybe I will drop It That Heralds the End and something else, depending on if we draw into like a 3-drop or lower. Opponent plays Golden Sidekick. 2 mana 1/3 flying lifelink. Whenever you gain life, a random creature card in your hand perpetually gets +X/+X, where X is the amount of life you gained. We're now going to play Strategic Betrayal. Target opponent exiles a creature that they control and their graveyard. Okay. We will exile one of our Eldrazi spawn tokens. Our opponent's down to 6 life already. They did take the 8 damage from last turn. I think from here, I'm just going to slam the Titans Vanguard, put a +1/+1 counter on all the creatures that we currently have. Oh, that actually triggers the Basking Broodscale. I didn't pay attention to the fact that we have that synergy ability. That's nice. So we're going to swing out here, I think. Our opponent's down to 6. They have 3 blockers. We're swinging a 5/5, another 5/5, a 3/3, and a 2/3. All of their blocks are awkward. So I think they're going to have to sacrifice like the majority of their board. They will gain some life off of the death triggers. So let's see where they end up. They went down to 3, gained 1 from the lifelink off of Golden Sidekick. So that put them at 4. After all these triggers resolved, they're back up to 8. Okay, no big deal. I think we still got this. Because when we attack with the Titans Vanguard, it's going to put another +1/+1 counter on our entire board. And we have another It That Heralds the End that we can drop to buff our board. Our opponent's going to play Raise the Past, 4 mana sorcery, return all creature cards and mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's a pretty dope spell. Honestly, when I saw 4 mana and a sorcery, I thought it was going to be a board wipe. That is the opposite of a board wipe. That one's cool. If I ran decks with a higher budget, like I was using more rares, I would probably run this in a bunch of decks. Ooh, it's nasty. We top deck the Eldrazi Linebreaker. We're going to be able to play this out. Oh no, come on. He scooped before I could even cast a spell. We're going to be able to drop this. You can see right here, it says that we have 6 colorless creatures so far. We would have played this. That number would go up to 7. We would drop an It That Heralds the End. This number would go up to 8. And then when we went to combat, we'd be able to target itself with its own ability, give it haste, and +8/+0 until end of turn. So we'd be swinging an 11, initially an 11/3 with trample, not to mention the rest of our board on top of that. It would have been filthy. It would have been great. But because I was trying to explain what was about to happen, our opponent scooped. Sad days, sad days. All right, here we are in another match. Opening hand looks pretty decent. Ooh, our opponent is playing a Toxic Insect deck. They just played Phyresis Roach. I'm just gonna play out a Basking Broodscale and hope that our opponent does not have some kind of like fight spell or something, or removal spell, because we really don't want this Roach to connect. They play out a Finn the Fangbearer, that's fine. Okay, what I'm gonna do here is play It That Heralds the End. That will make our Basking Broodscale a 3/3. And then we can play Horrific Assault. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker you don't control. And if you control an Eldrazi, you gain 3 life. We'll have the Broodscale fight the Finn. It will die, and we can swing our 3/3 Broodscale. And we still have It That Heralds the End as a blocker for his Roach, but it'll probably die to removal right now, I would imagine. They return Finn to their hand. They replay Finn. That's super annoying. Okay. Wasn't the biggest fan of that, but it is what it is. I'm going to start by casting Malevolent Rumble. We're going to look at the top 4 cards of our library, and we get to grab a permanent. I think I'm going to grab the Wumpus Aberration. 4 mana, 6/6 trample. Pretty decent stat line. And I think I'm going to play out a Propagator Drone. This is a 2 mana 2/2 that says creature tokens you control have evolve. And you can pay 3 and a green to create an Eldrazi spawn. I will go to combat. I will swing the Basking Broodscale because I don't think he wants to block with either of his creatures. He did not want to. He takes 3. He goes down to 16. He plays out a second Roach. Ooh. And he activates his Escape Tunnel, which is a land that says you can tap it, sacrifice this land. Target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn. That is nice. So he makes one of his roaches unblockable, and that is going to buff all of the insects that he has in his deck. He swings with the fin. I think it is very suspicious. I bet it's black, not a green protection spell. Dang, I was wrong. It was Gift of the Viper. Put a +1/+1 counter, a reach counter, and a death touch counter on target creature. Untap it. It's fine. We lose our Propagator Drone, but I knew he had something, and it's fine. I didn't want Finn hitting us anyway. We're several turns deep into this game, and we only have one poison counter on us so far, so it could be a lot worse. We're gonna play out our Wumpus Aberration. Ooh. And I'm going to activate the Adapt on our Broodscale. We lose our token to do it, but when Broodscale gets the +1/+1 counter, it makes a new token, so that's okay. And now we have a 4/4 body, so this will contest his new buffed Finn the Fangbearer. He doesn't want to block, he takes the 4, goes down to 11. We're doing all right. Our opponent plays a Bilious Skull Dweller. He swings his Finn the Fangbearer. That is ballsy. I know you have no cards in hand, and I won't take that trade. I'll say no blocks. We're only at 1 poison counter. We'll take that. We go to 3. I'll keep our 7/7 with trample instead. All right, so I'm going to play out a Basking Broodscale. I'm going to adapt the new one. It'll become a 4/4. We get another spawn token. We'll go to combat, swing our 7/7 and our 4/4 and our 1/2. He blocks probably the 7/7 with his Bilious Skull Dweller, which has Death Touch. Yep, so he's still going to take 6 damage from that. And then he chump blocks our Broodscale with one of his roaches. Opponent goes down to 4, and we end the turn. All right, it is a game of top decking now. Gotta see who can draw into more gas, or better gas first. Interesting choice. Our opponent top decks Unnatural Restoration. 1 and a green for sorcery. Return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Proliferate. And he chose to return the Escape Tunnel to his hand. Very interesting choice. He uses it on his roach. His roach has Toxic 2. That means we're going to go up to 6 poison counters. He swings with Finn. Even if I don't block, we can only go to 8. And now he's dead. Good game. I think he should have grabbed the Bilious Skull Dweller. Just setting that up as a defensive blocker would have been good against our board. But I'm not complaining. We got through that game. All right, here we are in another game. Our hand is a little bit slow again. We don't have any plays until turn 3, which is surprising to me. We have 4, 8, 12, 13, 14 2-drops and below that we would want to cast. 14 of them. And we do not see any, at least not yet. Play out Twisted Landscape. End the turn. This is very suspicious. Our opponent just played out an Ankle Biter. I think we're playing against another Toxic deck, and I don't know why. Could be random chance, but that seems very suspicious. This isn't the same guy, right? No, this is a different guy. Plays out a Foulmire Knight, a second Death Touch creature, very suspicious. You know what synergizes with Death Touch creatures? Finn the Fangbearer. We find our Eldrazi Linebreaker. I really want to play that, but our opponent is in Golgari colors. Chances are they have removal. So I don't want to play out the Linebreaker just to die right now. So I'm going to start with an Eldrazi Repurposer. We got our 3/3 and a 0/1 spawn token. Let's see if he has found his Finn yet. Or a removal spell. Hooded Blightfang. It says whenever creature you control with Death Touch attacks, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And it says whenever creature you control with Death Touch deals damage to a Planeswalker, destroy that Planeswalker. Okay. He does not swing either of his creatures. Okay. I appreciate the restraint. I'm going to be a little bit greedy, I think, and play out the Writhing Chrysalis first instead of our Linebreaker right now. This gives us 3 more colorless bodies, which will mean that Eldrazi Linebreaker's ability will deal that much more damage, or will provide that much more of a buff. There's removal. That is another reason why I still didn't play out the Linebreaker. Rabid Bite. Target creature deals damage equal to its power. So Foulmire Knight kills our Eldrazi Repurposer. When it dies, we get another token though, so it could be worse. He swings out with both of his creatures. We lose 2 life, he gains 2 life. I'm going to say no blocks. We'll take 2 more damage. We go down to 15. He has 1 blocker up. I'm going to play out the Eldrazi Linebreaker. And I think I'm going to play It That Heralds the End. Playing out It That Heralds the End makes our spawn tokens 1/2s, so we can block his 1/1s with Death Touch. I will go to combat. I am going to swing with a Linebreaker here. No, I'm not. I was just kidding. I wouldn't swing our Linebreaker into his Hooded Blightfang. Not yet. Because if next turn we can get down our Titans Vanguard while Linebreaker is still alive, then this goes crazy. Because we play the Vanguard, puts +1/+1 counter on our board. We go to combat. Linebreaker gives Vanguard haste. We swing with Vanguard. It has a massive power buff on it. It has trample. And on the attack trigger, it would put another +1/+1 counter on our board. But they have another removal spell. Linebreaker dies. That's annoying. There goes that dream. It's gonna be beautiful, but whatever. I'll go fuck myself. So instead, I'll just play out a Wumpus Aberration. No attacks, end the turn. Play out Typhoid Rats. And another fight spell. Jesus Christ, dude. So much fucking removal. This game has quickly become very boring. Play out Eldrazi Repurposer. Make a token. Repurposer comes down. How did it tap my lands? I just got screwed by the auto tapper. I was going to drop our Basking Broodscale next to that because we had 5 mana and I just played a 3-drop. But now I don't have access to green mana because the auto tapper is stupid. It tapped down both of our Unclaimed Territories for colorless and then used our forest. And so now all I have is 2 more colorless mana. That's so dumb. That's stupid. All right. So apparently for this deck, you need to be on the lookout for the auto tapper. I haven't run into this problem yet, but you know, the perfect time to run into this issue is when I'm recording, naturally. Now we're going to have 1 less body on the board than we should have for our Titans Vanguard to buff. Fight spell like number 10 comes out. We lose our Writhing Chrysalis. Opponent still doesn't swing. I'm just going to play out the Titans Vanguard now. We're going to buff our board. No attacks from us. We're going to save it to swing out next turn with the Titans Vanguard, so our whole board will get buffed. If Vanguard dies right now, I will lose my mind. Stop looking at your rats. It's looking at It That Heralds the End. Another fight spell. It targets It That Heralds the End, but still. Okay, we find another Titans Vanguard. I'm gonna play this out, put a +1/+1 counter on our whole board. Swing, put another +1/+1 counter on our whole board. See what our opponent does. They have 5 blockers. We're swinging with 6 creatures, and we'll see how this goes. Opponent started at 22 life. They go down to 13. The only creature that they have that survives is their Hooded Blightfang. They top deck a land. That's great to see. Go to our turn. I'm going to play out a Wumpus Aberration. And I just got screwed by the auto tapper 2 turns in a row. Again, I can't play our Broodscale because I don't have access to green. That is absolutely ridiculous. I'm going to swing the Vanguard and this token because this token will become a 4/5. So he can't block. He can't just chump block it with his Hooded Blightfang. He blocks the Titans Vanguard, so he's going to take 3 damage from that. His snake dies, takes another 4. He goes down to 6. This should be game over, and it is. All right, even though I already warned you guys once and chose not to take my own advice, watch the auto tapper with this deck. It will try to screw you. All right, here we are in another game. Kept our opening hand. We didn't have to mulligan. Our opponent took fuel, or just played out a Fuel Tank Feaster. 1 in a green for a 1/3 Ooze Druid. Beginning of your first main phase, a random creature card with the greatest value among creature cards in your hand perpetually gains cost 1 less to cast. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. I'm going to play out a Basking Broodscale and end. Our opponent just played a Priest of Possibility. I was going to say, depending on how well this goes for them, we might just concede the game right there. But all I got was Hexproof and Indestructible. That's okay. For our turn, I'm going to start with Malevolent Rumble and use this to hit a land. I want to grab a land off of this. We'll grab Unclaimed Territory. Nice. But I'm actually going to play out Secluded Courtyard because Courtyard says you can tap, add 1 mana of any color, spend this mana only to cast a creature spell of the chosen type, or activate an ability of a creature source of the chosen type. What that means is I can select Eldrazi here and then activate Broodscale's ability with Secluded Courtyard. Unclaimed Territory would not have been able to do that. It says add 1 mana only to cast a creature spell of the chosen type. Cannot be used for abilities as well. So we will adapt our Broodscale, and then that makes a new token. And I could swing a 3/3, but they just jump block with Priest of Possibility. I'm going to end the turn there. Our Linebreaker and our Aberrations are going to be very important for this game because these have trample, so they can get over their 2/2 indestructible Priest of Possibility. That's going to be nice. We want to try to get those out as soon as we can. They play out a Ronus the Indomitable. It's cool. Ronus is a great card. I love Ronus. But Ronus says you can't attack or block, or Ronus says it can't attack or block unless you control another creature with power 4 or greater, which he currently does not have. This can't tap. Ronus does have the ability to buff other creatures. You can pay 2 and a green, and then another creature gets +2/+0 and gains trample to end a turn. And that can be used to activate Ronus at instant speed. I think I'm just going to play out a Propagator Drone and then sacrifice our spawn token to get down Eldrazi Linebreaker. No attacks in the turn. And then next turn I will play out the Wumpus Aberration. And then we're going to start swinging with that. Our opponent just played Darksteel Hydra. It's X and Abzan for a star Phyrexian Hydra. Indestructible that says this creature enters with X oil counters on it. Darksteel Hydra's power and toughness are each equal to twice the number of oil counters on it. When this creature enters, conjure a card named Darksteel Ingot and a card named Darksteel Plate into your hand. ingots, just a mana rock. Darksteel Plate says equipped creature as indestructible. It's fine. I think I play it slow here. I think I just get down the Writhing Chrysalis. So that way, whenever we do swing with our Aberration, it'll be as big as we possibly can have it. Right now, Eldrazi Linebreaker is giving +6/+0. So when we swing our Aberration, it'll be a 12/6 with Trample. That will at least connect for some damage through all of his indestructible blockers. So many indestructible blockers. Jesus, he has 9, 10, 11, 12. No, we can't even get through all of his indestructible blockers. He has 12 toughness between them. Titans Vanguard helps a little. I really wish we had one more land though. If I play out Titans Vanguard, we lose a body. Swing out, 4/4, 3/4. Stats still don't quite line up. I'll play out an Eldrazi Repurposer. We're just going to try to go wider with our board. I am going to sack off a token here though to get down it that heralds the end. His creatures might have indestructible, but they're only so big. So if we can make our creatures big enough that they don't die to his blockers, then that's fine. It doesn't matter that they're indestructible as long as our guys are bigger. So that is our current game plan. That's why I got down it that heralds the end, to buff our board one more. And hopefully we top deck a land next turn so I don't have to sacrifice a token and we can just get down Titans Vanguard, put a +1/+1 counter on our whole board, and then we're going to swing out. We'll give the Vanguard haste with the Linebreaker. We do top deck a land. That's amazing. Select Eldrazi. He has one card in hand. If that card is a fog, I will lose my mind. I will cry. I will cry very deeply. We play out Titans Vanguard. It's going to put a +1/+1 counter on our whole board right now. Broodscale triggers. That's great. We get another Scion token. Our spawn tokens have evolved right now. They all get buffed. We go to combat. Eldrazi Linebreaker is going to select Titans Vanguard. Give it +10/+, and we are going to swing. Titans Vanguard will then put a +1/+1 counter on all of our other creatures. And we're swinging out. We're going to buff our whole board, and then we're going to let him figure out the blockers. This is a ton of damage. He's going to use Ronus Indomitable to buff his Darksteel Hydra. He can do that twice. Oh, he'll buff the Hydra and then buff his Priest of Possibility. Broodscale gets a +1/+1 counter, so we make another spawn. All right, now we go to blockers. We let him figure out whatever happens. Well, we'll go from there. This game's hurting my brain. Okay, Linebreaker is going to get blocked. That's going to die to his Hydra. What is blocking Vanguard? Priest of Possibility. That means Vanguard is going to connect for 13 damage. 13 + 6, that's 19. Oh, and then our 5/5 and our 6/6 still connected. All right, he died. He went down to -14 and died. Jeez, that was a lot. But that is going to be the final match with our Gruul Eldrazi deck. All right, guys, and here we are back on my Untapped account. You can see that overall we are 7-3 with these 4 different versions of the deck for a 70% win rate. However, more importantly, with this most recent version of the deck, we are 6-1 with an 86% win rate. That is, that's pretty dang good if you ask me. Anyway, if you're interested in playing an Eldrazi deck list that is not just ramp super high or reanimate big dudes, you should give this deck a try because it's a lot of fun. Like if you are able to curve out from a Linebreaker on 3 into a Wumpus Aberration on 4 and swing with it, dude, that is a ton of pressure on turn 4. And your opponents will not be expecting that from Eldrazi. They won't. They're going to think they have all the time in the world before you drop your big bombs. But joke's on them, we have medium cost bombs. So if you guys are interested in the deck, I will leave a copy of the deck list down in the description. And with that said, if you guys liked the video, you should like the video. If you liked me, the video, and you like Magic the Gathering as well, you should consider subscribing to the channel because that will get you more of all 3. And thank you for joining us on day number 9 of our 30 days of Night. I hope to see you guys tomorrow.